present the African American scene. And Rudy Howard is your host tonight. And Rudy, you want me to go ahead and start the trivia situation?
Yes, please share that with my audience.
Alrighty. Alrighty, it's called Black Facts, and here's the deal. Now, if you happen to know the answer to this trivia question, you'll need to text your answer to 772 349 1407. That's 772 349 1407. Be sure to include your name, occupation, and your email address. And now, here's our question. Which one of the following items was invented by a black inventor? Was it number one, the traffic light signal? Or number two, the refrigerated truck? Or was it number three, the ice cream scooper? Remember, text your answer to 772 349 1407. Include your name, occupation, and email address. And now, your host, Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. Well, I like that trivia question.
Yeah.
I can hear those Googles working right now.
Algorithms have the wheels turning.
Oh my. Let me first, we're going to have an open mic night. I have a subject that I'm going to introduce to you if you don't call. But we're going to have an open mic night. But let me first start with this Kevin McCarthy thing. What a fiasco. A complete fiasco. I would be embarrassed to be a conservative given what they just did. And Matt Gaetz, who is trying to position himself for a run for governor, God forbid, was the principal player that brought him down. Now, it was a total of about 7 or 8 of them, but he was the one that initiated it. Now, and I want you to get this now, because this is consistent with what's going on within the conservative movement. 8, only 8 Republicans wanted him thrown out. The rest felt that he should stay or be given an opportunity to proceed forward. Now, this is very consistent with what the Republican Party has been doing, especially when it comes to compromise. Somehow now, for the last 4 or 5 years, conservatives have decided compromise is a dirty word. Now, while that has been an issue when it comes to trying to resolve issues with Democrats, it's now an issue when it comes to resolving issues with Republicans. They have no respect for how the majority feels. Think about that. That's your party. They have no respect for how the majority feels. The majority was not ready to flush him out of that spot, but he got flushed out. Where are we going here? I am so disturbed with the manner in which we are doing things right now. In a divided government, now let me refresh your memory. Nancy only had a 4-vote margin as well. She never ran into this because she was able to convince the majority of her members to follow her. And there were some recalcitrants on that side as well, but she was able to somehow convince them to do things that were in the best interest of the United States. Let me go on to one other thing here before I begin getting into the show. Trump goes outside the courthouse and he criticizes the AG. He criticizes the judge. And here's the most important thing that you have to understand. It's a bench trial. He's criticizing the very judge who is going to rule on the amount of damages that are going to go against him. Now, you may like him and you may think he's smart, but I think that's dumb as hell. That is like what I learned early in my life about playing basketball. If you jump on the referee for the rest of the game, every call gets called against you. So you learn to shut your mouth, let him make the calls, and make the adjustments that you have to make in the flow of the game. He's trying to change the game with his outlandish comments. And all he's doing is force the judge is going to have to fight any being predisposed to coming harsh on him and issue neutral jurisprudence. But he's just making it harder and harder and harder. And I don't understand that. I'm going to equate that to him criticizing John McCain, the darling of Arizona, and then wondering why Arizona didn't vote for him. His logic escapes me, and you guys think he's smart, but I just think he is absolutely a moron. Self-absorbed, that everything has to be about him and what makes him look good. I don't know. Well, let me remind you once again, this Friday, I will be conducting a Medicare seminar at St. Lucie Trails Country Club at 9 a.m. So if you have questions about Medicare, you want to understand how it works and what your opportunities might be, please feel free to come to my seminar. But you have to call me in advance because I'm providing some refreshments. And my phone number is 772-475-8856. That's 772-475-8856. I still have a few openings available. One final piece, open enrollment for Medicare begins on October 15th. So if you are looking for a Medicare plan, or you're not happy with the one that you have, and you would like to talk to me about possibly making a change, please feel free to call me. Again, that phone number is 772-475-8856. I cannot take any enrollments prior to October 15th. Okay? So if you come to my seminar on Friday, I can take your information, and after you see what I have to offer, and if you like it, we can make arrangements to meet at a later time. Okay. So I'm on my truth-telling mission again. So often, conservatives like to say that Democrats are socialists. Do you think that's true? Well, I can tell you, and I was speaking to my wife because she asked me what I was preparing for tonight. And I asked her, I said, in your lifetime, all the people and family members you know are Democrats. Have you known anybody that was a socialist? She said, no. I said, I can't think of anybody that we've met or associated with since we've been married, and we've been married for 39 years, that is a socialist. But that's a tag hung around the neck of Democrats and liberals to intimidate them and to make people believe something that is not true about democratic philosophies. Now, let's talk about what a socialist government is. In a socialist government, economic decisions don't depend on market forces. So the primary driver of economic decisions in a socialist government is the government. The government owns and controls much of the economy's resources. Again, this is in a socialist government. The government ownership allows for more equitable distribution of goods and services. That is the philosophy of a socialist government. A more equitable distribution of goods and services. A socialist government is much more permissive than communism. So, and oftentimes Democrats are called communists and socialists, and I'm trying to get you straight. I don't want you to agree with me, but at least understand the truth, okay? So we just talked about what a socialist government is. What is a capitalist government? An economy controlled by market forces and individual initiative. That's the mantra of conservatives, that individual initiative. So the market forces are the prime driver of economic activity. Now, the other thing that you're told on a regular basis, which is not true, and I'm about to prove it to you, that we are one of the few capitalist governments. I'm going to list for you the top 10 capitalist governments as defined by the Heritage Foundation. Now, you know why I said that? Because the Heritage Foundation is a conservative organization that identified these top capitalist countries. Number one, Singapore. And I bet you some of you are going to be shocked. Number two, Switzerland. Number three, Iceland. Number four, Luxembourg. Number five, New Zealand. Number six, Taiwan. Number seven, Estonia. Number eight, the Netherlands. Number nine, Finland. And Number 10, Denmark. And guess where the USA ranks on this list? Number 25. And I know that shocks you because you know Denmark. Now, here's the other part. Now, let's get this. This is really interesting. All of those capitalist systems have universal health care. They're considered top capitalist systems in the world, and they have universal health care. The USA was ranked 25. And again, the commonality of these countries is they all provide universal health care. Just think about that. You have been told universal health care is socialism. I have a personal relationship with somebody who's in Denmark, who is a Harvard grad and a former lawyer in New York. He has shed light on their system, and he now lives in Denmark. And he has shared with me information about health incidents he and his wife and his daughter had that were completely taken care of by the Denmark universal health system. So now think about that. I want you to really, really, really get this, because you keep being told that it is anti-capitalist to have a universal health system. And I'm going to run through these countries one more time so you can get it. Singapore, Switzerland, Iceland, Luxembourg, New Zealand, Taiwan, Estonia, the Netherlands, Finland, and Denmark. All top capitalist systems as defined by the Heritage Foundation. Now, listen to this, but we have Winnie online. Yes, Winnie.
How you doing, Rudy? You heard about on this on Dr. Rich's show, QYT. Black lady, Orlando, Florida. She got her last week. This I heard a tree hanging. Last week Thursday. Are you familiar with that?
Well, Winnie, I didn't quite make out what you said. What did you say? Huh? I can't make it out, Cliff.
Do you hear?
I can hear you, but I couldn't make out what you said. You try it again?
Right into the phone, Winnie.
I was saying, like, Florida, I heard a agent last week. How you heard about that?
No.
Huh?
I have not.
Oh, yeah, they had like a little rally yesterday in Orlando. Her name, I think, Yo-Yo or something. And, you know, I have a good night.
Okay, you too. All right. Now, here is my position. It's going to surprise some of you. Socialism in our economic system is not the answer. That is not the answer. We have to reform capitalism. Now, why do I say that? Because some of the assumptions and the processes associated with our capitalism have been inequitable and been totally harsh to many of the people in our country. Let's take, for example, technology. Technology gains in production have created wealth beyond the imagination of most companies by making production and processes more efficient. But that additional wealth created by increased productivity has gone to the top 1%. Think about it. So all of this improved production capabilities, all of this efficiency that has taken place, and all the money has rested at the top 1%. So is there any surprise that there is a UAW strike? And what the writers were striking about, and if you can't see it, let me help you with the vision. With artificial intelligence, there's an opportunity, again, to streamline the production of writing material by using artificial intelligence. So what happens to the writers? They get cut out. So people are starting to wake up, and there is a need for some adjustments in our capitalist system to recognize the growing inequity. Even in Europe, there is a growing inequity due to the increased production, which has created more wealth. Cliff, did you have a question?
Well, I got the trivia standing by for that second read where we can take care of the Cartwright firm for that wonderful brand new trivia contest that we do each week now.
Okay, why don't we do that, and then we'll take a little break, and then we'll come back, and I will finish up.
All right, well, we can do it like this, with music. You see, our weekly trivia segment is called Black Facts, sponsored by the Cartwright firm, specializing in car and truck accidents, personal injury cases, police misconduct, wrongful death, civil rights violations, discrimination, sports and entertainment, business litigation. Write down this number for Black Facts Trivia Contest. You'll need to text your answer to 772-349-1407. That's 772-349-1407. Be sure to include your name, occupation, and email address to be eligible to win. And now, here's the question. Just before we go into the break, which one of the following items was invented by a black inventor? Was it 1, the traffic light signal? Number 2, was it the refrigerated truck? Or was it number 3, the ice cream scooper? And all you've got to do is text your answer to 772-349-1407. Include your name, occupation, and email address. And what's the prize, Rudy? What did they get? Did they get it right?
I believe he's given out a gift card to Dunkin' Donuts.
All right. Hey, that sounds good. Well, we'll go ahead and take a break now and be back in a moment with more of the African American scene with Rudy Howard.
Hi, this is Rudy Howard, your independent insurance agent. This means I represent multiple companies which will allow me to match you with the best company for your needs. I am now officially Rudy's Health Insurance LLC. So if you need a Medicare plan or a health plan, call me. That number is 475-8856 or my Facebook page, Rudy's Health Insurance. I am ready to serve you.
At Martin County Roofing, they build trust with quality work. With over 20 years of experience, they handle repairs, restoration, and new roofs for residential and commercial properties. Serving the entire Treasure Coast area, they're fully licensed, bonded, and insured, specializing in tile, metal, shingle, or flat roofs. Let them protect what matters most to you. Contact Martin County Roofing for a free estimate at www.martincountyroofing.com.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
And now, back to the African American scene. Once again, here's your host, the one and only Rudy Howard.
I'm going to continue on this trail of economics and socialism. But let me remind you, I am holding a Medicare seminar at St. Lucie Trails Country Club Friday morning at 9 a.m. And if you are interested, please call me 475-8856. And so I can include you in the head count because I will be providing some refreshments. Again, that's St. Lucie Trails Country Club. Now, most of the gains that have come under capitalism have gone to the shareholders. Distribution of benefits has been inadequate. People are not making enough money to live. Now, some people are completely insensitive to that, but I can tell you the first apartment that I had out of college was $160 a month furnished. Now, it wasn't the prettiest furniture in the world, but I was broke and was glad to have that little apartment for 160 bucks. The other thing that happens when there's a lack of proper economic distribution, monetary distribution, there's a lack of purchasing power. And that hurts the economy as a whole. So it's not just about equity, it affects the whole economy. And all of us should be concerned about that. The problems with capitalism are that safety nets are identified as being problematic. So what are we talking about when we say safety nets? They're under attack. On the right, they feel, and I have yet to completely understand this, and I think I'm a fairly intelligent guy, but I don't get it completely, that attacking safety nets in the end will make people more productive. And I don't get that at all. How can people be more productive when they don't have income and when people can't get housing in order to have a safe place to live and food to eat? And what items are under attack? Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and conservatives have been pretty strong anti-union people. And while I understand why they're anti-union, because it forces pressure on them to pay more money. And they don't want to voluntarily do that. And some of you just really don't get this. I mean, you don't like unions, but the whole point of unions is it allows the common person to have leverage to try to negotiate a better wage. Now, I will tell you, there are companies that don't have to worry about that because they pay a respectable wage and people can make a living. The other problem with capitalism is trickle-down economics. Now, I have had many battles with conservatives about trickle-down economics, but at this point, it is clear trickle-down economics doesn't work. But I would tell you that the theory is a good theory. When you hear the theory, trickle-down economics and the rising tide lifts all boats, all of that seems to make sense, except for one thing. It doesn't trickle down. The money doesn't trickle down. That's why we got people who are homeless and can't afford a decent place to live because they don't make enough money. I think the thing that is most evident is when you look at the people that work for Walmart. Many of the people that work for Walmart, not all, mind you, but many get food stamps and SNAP assistance. Now that should make you mad. With all the money that they make, why can't they pay enough money for people to have a decent wage to afford housing? Now, why I say all of that, let me tell you, there are some good corporate partners in this community. I'm going to say Lexus has been a tremendous corporate partner. They have sponsored any number of fundraisers and events at the dealership. And if you've never been there, it is absolutely gorgeous. And I don't know that you could ask much more. And it has been my honor to have a relationship with the owner, Sandy Woods, and he's just a hell of a good human being. WPSL, my station right here, and I'm being a little prejudiced right now, they are a tremendous community partner. They have been doing Christmas kids for God knows how long. I guess it's been like 15, 20 years now. They do every year to help kids who might otherwise not have a Christmas. They also collect money and send kids to camp who might not otherwise go to camp. Now, that is, and there was something, a course that I took when I was attending grad school called the marketing concept. And one of the basic tenets of the marketing concept is when a company takes money out of a community, it has an obligation to reinvest in the community. And I can't think of any two companies around here that I know of personally that have done a more a bigger job of trying to meet up to that than WPSL and Lexus. That's not to say that there's not some other companies that have done some things, and I can think of some banks that have made some contributions, but not at the same level as WPSL and Lexus. So after all of that, what am I saying? Most Democrats are capitalists. Contrary to what you've been told, most Democrats are capitalists. I've already told you, I have never in my lifetime had a friend who was a Democrat or liberal that was a socialist. But you like to hang that thing around our necks because you think that anybody that's trying to help other people is looking for give outs and handouts to people. And that's not it at all. You think about what West Palm Beach just did. They just passed a $200 million bill for building affordable housing in West Palm Beach because people could not find an affordable place to live. Gavin Newsom did a very similar thing out in California. He has initiated a affordable housing situation so people could have a affordable place to live. So what do I want as a Democrat? I want reform. I want a reform of the system. We have become far too selfish as a country when we are the richest country on the face of this earth. And I don't see that. I think we have to invest more money in the American people. And I think that can first start with businesses. So instead of making a 10% profit, how about a 6% profit and give the 4% back to your workers? I'm not trying to tell you how you spend your money. I'm just trying to say what makes sense. You can make an investment back into your employees that makes life better for all of us, because there will be people who will have money to spend in the economy, which we all will benefit by. Too many people have come to accept theories about the economy that don't work. We have been conditioned to believe helping others makes us weak. The other thing that we have been conditioned to believe is free markets will always do what is right if there is no restrictions or impediments upon which they operate in the marketplace. That's not true. Not only for big companies, for small companies as well. Alan Greenspan admitted after the 2008 collapse that he made a mistake in supporting deregulation of the banks, and they invested grossly in credit default swaps. he admitted he made the mistake, and that was a man who had been a lifetime free market person. So again, all government regulation is not bad. Free markets, by its very nature, unless you have an exceptional management structure and a corporation with conscience, is too often governed by greed. Greed to make shareholders more money. And in small businesses, a greed to put more money in their pocket. I am aware of some small companies that have focused on profit over people. And generally, you can tell this by the stability of the staff. When you see a company that has staff in place for a prolonged period of time, that means they have been pretty satisfied with their compensation and that the treatment they've received from that company. So some government regulation is necessary. The real enemy to me in capitalism is bureaucracy. Now, I think there can be some adjustments made in bureaucracy. And we have Frank on line one. Yes, sir.
Oh, hello. I called you last week. I wanted to ask you, you're a capitalist, aren't you?
I am.
Okay, because you want to make a profit selling insurance.
I do.
Right. So what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Okay. So I don't understand what I find it hard to believe that children are brainwashed in college about not being willing to participate in a capitalistic society. You can buy a home. You can buy a car. You can have televisions. You have access to computers in a capitalist country. And in this country, if you have some ambition, or even if you have $500, you can start your own business. Try that in Cuba. Try that in Venezuela. Try that in what used to be Poland, in other countries, East Germany, countries that were colossally socialist, communist, whatever, and they failed miserably. It's only here in this country that the greater risk that you take, the more money you should make. So if I'm a truck driver, or if I work in a Walmart superstore sorting products, does that grant that I should be making $30 an hour plus full benefits? No. But if I'm the CEO of the company and I answer to my stockholders, well, then of course you should make millions of dollars and have all types of goodies that go along with it. But to simply bash the capitalist system, I think you have a very limited view of our economic society. Because the fact that
I don't, Frank, I don't think so.
Testament to that.
I do not think so. I am one, I sold the company and put some money away. And after 20 years of running that company, I am not bashing capitalism. Here's the problem that I have, and you are indicative of that problem. You think the system we have is flawless and no changes should be made.
I never said it was flawless. I'm saying that.
Okay, so what? Okay, so let me stop you. if you don't think it's flawless, what changes, or are there any changes you think could be made to our capitalist system?
Like, I'm waiting for someone to say, like they do in California, people are entitled to $20,000 a year who don't make a specific income, and they have all types of special programs. I mean, good God, you can take advantage of these things. People who are on welfare, whatever it used to be called welfare, or live in housing projects, they work 2 jobs or 3 jobs to get out of there, so they're not victims of crime and crummy neighborhoods and no libraries and no supermarkets. That's what they do. They work hard. They work their butts off.
So your argument is you don't think people are willing to work hard.
Many people, it's been proven, they're satisfied to get a check every month.
Oh, Frank, I wish you would do some research. If you think, I would challenge you to find out how much money people get who are on supplementary nutritional assistance, SNAP.
People get money.
Okay, wait, let me finish. And I want you to tell me, I want you to limit your budget to what they get every week in a check, and tell me if you could live by that.
People do live on it.
Oh,
why are they entitled to have a gigantic television and cable and this and all these other things, and have children who are running the streets? People are it's rewarded. It's rewarding people. In the prison system, and the people who are in there invariably have no interest in working. Many of them, they want to get out and they want to commit the same thing over again. They're not going to take a job for $10 an hour with no skill, with inability to read. They've served notice. I mean, I'd love to know, you live in Fort Pierce or St. Martin, St. Lucie. What does it cost for someone to live in St. Lucie County? Can they live on $35,000 a year?
Do you think you can raise a family of 4 in Port St. Lucie for $35,000 a year?
I'm just saying, if a man and his wife both work and they make $45,000, $50,000, they cannot support a family of 3 on that kind of money.
It would be, it would not be impossible, but they could.
Yeah.
They could. I won't deny that. At $50,000 for a married couple with a child, I think they could probably survive. But that's not your typical situation, you understand?
Of course it is. Most people don't have 4 children. I don't know of any. My sons went to school in Martin County. There were maybe like 2 kids in a family, maybe 3. And both parents worked to support their family and have a house to live in and have a car or 2. That's all. They weren't looking for freebies or extra stuff.
So what do you think?
They got a second job.
So what do you think it costs to get into a house these days?
Oh, to get into a house in St. Lucie County, the average home costs about $230,000.
No, sir.
Or even more.
No, a lot more. And not $230,000.
If I wanted to buy a house,
$230,000 in Port St. Lucie, those days you're about 15 years behind.
Well, I don't know. How about Fort Pierce?
Maybe
I'm not on the ocean.
Maybe in Fort Pierce you could get it for $230,000.
Right.
Maybe.
Because it's a rundown area.
Not all of Fort Pierce is a rundown area. That's your bias kicking in there.
It's not my bias.
Yes, it is, because there's parts of Fort Pierce that are absolutely breathtaking beautiful.
I'm sure they're over by the ocean.
There's just, well, I'm just telling you, there's parts of Fort Pierce that are just
On the
beautiful.
But if I go west of US 1 on Avenue A and all the way to the Turnpike, it's worth my life. I wouldn't buy a home there. No matter what color it was.
Okay, well, Frank, we coming to. Go ahead.
Hope you have a happy time selling your insurance products, because Medicare supplements